Okay, so I know that some of you looked at logarithms in Algebra 2 last year. Great. But several people put on my Google form that I had you guys answer, put that you either didn't know what it was or that you remember learning about it but don't remember what it is. If you do remember it, then this unit will be really easy for you. But I want to make sure that you guys know it because it does show up on the ACT. So I want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to get those scores up for y'all. And it'll just be a great intro unit for us to get back into the groove of things. Deal?
No deal.
No deal. Well, okay.
Next question.
Sure.
Are we done start testing with juniors?
Yes, you do not, well, not STAR testing. You might still have to STAR test. You're done with ACT Aspire.
Now it's the real deal.
Now it's the real ACT.
Wait, I thought we were doing way more stressful, like in here.
If they have me STAR test my students, you guys will still STAR test.
Wow.
I don't know.
No other school started besides us. Jonesboro doesn't.
That's every other school.
Brooklyn doesn't.
You don't know.
Yeah, I went to Brooklyn.
Brooklyn don't what now?
What? Do what?
No one starts testing anymore.
Lord, y'all are about to make me have to pause my recording.
Joey, if you haven't fucking run,
Just put it in the notes. Or put it in the little, like,
I'll just edit it.
Skip to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's learn about log.
Let's do it. Thanks, Megan.
is that a log on the thing?
That is a log.
No, it's a tulip.
It's punny. Okay, logarithms. A logarithm is just a special way to ask a specific question. Let me show you what a logarithm looks like. Log base b of a equals x. I highly encourage you to use a cursive lowercase l, because if you just use a print l, it ends up looking like 10g, which is completely different than a logarithm.
But what if we never learned?
You can do it.
Literally not that difficult.
Hey, I know, I'm just saying, I never learned anything.
It's actually not an inconvenience, fun fact.
I'm kidding.
Has anyone ever done that?
No one did that.
I have.
Miss Simon did Layman taught it last year.
She did, I remember this.
We did.
Well, I'm teaching it as if none of you have ever heard of logarithms. Yes, it is log base b of a equals x. That's how it's read, and I want us to write that.
So the B is for base.
Yes.
Wait.
Log base b of a equals x. That's how you read this.
And B.
Yes.
So like, why?
Because it might not always.
Why do you say base A, B, C? Yes.
I thought you were asking, do you? My answer was yes, because it's not always going to be a B there. It could be a number or a different letter. And it can be anything. Right. Log base b of a equals x. And the b is written as a subscript, so it should be smaller and a little bit lower than all the rest of your letters there.
I'm proposing, okay. Wait, so A is just like,
It could be any number.
it could be a number.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so the question that a logarithm is asking is, what exponent is required to go from a base of b to reach a value of a? What exponent is required to go from a base of b to reach a value of a?
We need to put the little.
You don't have to. I'm just denoting that those are, huh?
Can I capitalize it, or if I capitalize it there?
Oh, if you put capitals here, then yes, they should match these letters, B and A.
Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna put the little dashes or whatever you put above that A.
I did both, yeah. I was
It's
in both.
just
with you.
inside.
It looks so blurry from where I'm at.
At least it doesn't look like it's black.
Oh, that's bad.
Is her projector bad?
Oh,
Our
it's so
projector's
good.
so bad.
You
It
can't
looks
see
like
it.
I have a migraine.
I feel like I have detached retina.
She was like, "Hey, you amazing."
Oh
She
no.
watched this video and he said, here's a problem workout. And she paused and said, read this and mark this out. I was like, I can't read.
No, it looks like I actually cannot read. I feel like an old person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like I have something wrong.
It's unfortunate.
The first day of class, I had my glasses on and I was like, I'm just becoming illiterate when they hit like 65.
But their eyes start to deteriorate. They start
They
dying.
just come out and get replaced.
Okay. Let me explain a little bit of what this question means. It's asking, we're starting with a number that's in this position where the B is, and we want to get it to be the same value as A. In order to do that, we're going to have to raise it to an exponent. So the answer is whatever exponent that is going to be. It'll become a lot less confusing when we actually start putting numbers in here. Okay, logarithms are very closely related to exponential equations. So we're going to look at the different parts of an exponential equation, and we're going to transform them, not really transform them, they're not changing. We're going to move them around to be in a logarithmic equation. So in an exponential equation, you have a base raised to an exponent. So a number raised to a power, and that gives you some value. This is what an exponential equation looks like. A number raised to an exponent equals another number. These same three numbers in logarithmic form would look like this.
You like reverse that thing. You did a little switch around.
Did a little switcheroo.
I always got the exponent and the value.
Mixed up. So the exponent, or the answer to a logarithm is an exponent. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Let's open our foldable and look at some examples.
Are these hard?
Nope. This is very easy in comparison to what we'll be doing the rest of the year. Get excited.
This is the hardest thing we're learning is when I put my mind.
Whoa.
All right. Calculate the following logarithms. That's our instruction. So let's look at the first one. Log base 4 of 64. This logarithm is asking 4 raised to what power equals 64?
Wait, so that on every one of them?
So in order to find this answer, you can use your calculator. Remember, raising a number to a power is different than just multiplying. So if you want to do trial and error, I would start with an exponent of 2. So 4 squared is 16. That's not it. Let's try 4 raised to the third power. That gives us 64.
Yeah, how do you put the ring?
It's the caret, which is right below the clear button.
That's what you put when you're agreeing with someone.
I'll put it over there on the board.
It's 3.
Good job, Tanner. So the answer to this logarithm is 3. Or I guess the value of the logarithm is 3.
So it's the value. Yeah. So what's up? The 64 is the.
Well, the 60, yeah, I shouldn't have used the word value. The 64 is what we were calling value on the front page. The exponent is 3. But
Okay.
I guess what I should have said is this logarithm is equivalent to 3. The entire logarithm.
But
is
we're
equal to
looking for
3.
the exponent.
Hmm?
We're looking for the exponent
Mhm.
in all of them.
Yep. So if we look at the next one, If we go across the page, log base 6 of 216, this logarithm is asking 6 to what power equals 216?
3.
So 6 cubed equals 216. So the answer to our logarithm is 3
Wait, so what's 4? Because it's not cube, it's quad.
to the fourth power.
Okay, so after like squared and cubed, it's
Yeah.
Just say quad. That's like the first actual real question I've ever asked.
I'm not learning.
Hey, son, I think you need to check your shot, buddy.
Okay, let's look at the next one. Log base 4 of 16. What question is this logarithm asking?
4 to what power equals 16?
2.
Good job. So 4 squared equals 16. That means our answer is 2.
Me too.
Oh, really?
I use my calculator.
I did.
Next one, log base 3 of 1 over 243. What question is this logarithm asking?
What?
3 to what power? 1 and over whatever power.
Were you just saying random words?
No, 3. You gotta
He
find
is
that.
saying-
Oh my.
3 to what power equals 1 over 243?
I was trying to say that, but it didn't.
Algebra 6 is.
Allison?
Why are you laughing?
Do you have to make the 3 a fraction?
Whoa, that was aggressive.
This?
Sorry.
It wasn't really.
On the back of the bus.
You have to write it exactly how it's written in the logarithm. So yes, 3 to what power equals 1 over 243. Do some trial and error. See what you think the exponent needs to be.
But how do you find in a fraction?
You get it?
I want you to just try some things. See what you get.
I am.
I did a 0.5 and it did not.
How do you convert it to a fraction?
Math enter.
What?
If you get a decimal as your answer, you press math, enter, and it changes it to a fraction. If it can be changed to a fraction.
What is math? Where's math? What are you talking about? I'm so confused.
I figured it out.
No.
Don't say it.
Okay, for example,
I got it. Third button.
Oh, I got it.
if you get a
That's the
decimal
answer?
as your answer, this math button that's right below alpha, you press it, and the first option is fraction, so you just press enter and then enter again.
Where?
And it changes your decimal to a fraction. If it doesn't change into a fraction, then that decimal can't be written as a fraction. And it's not your answer.
I got the answer.
Wade got the answer. What does your answer, what quality does your answer have? A negative exponent.
Mine says error whenever I do that, so.
You might be using the minus sign instead of the negative. So, okay.
Can you do all that on your calculator? So we can-
Yes, everyone pay close attention if you're confused.
It's right here.
I'm going to try some negative exponents. 3, I use the caret button, which is right below clear, to get up into the exponent. The negative button is down here next to the decimal point. You can't use the minus sign. You have to use the actual negative button. So I'm going to try -2. I have no idea what this fraction or what this decimal is. So I'm going to change it to a fraction to see if it matches the fraction that I'm looking for. So I press math, which is right below alpha. The first option that it's giving me is fraction. So I don't have to scroll or do anything. I can just press enter and then enter again. 1/9. That's not the fraction that I'm looking for. So now I'm going to try 3 raised to the -3 power. Okay, let me see what this decimal gives me. Math, enter, 1 over 27. That's not what I need either. So 3 raised to the -4. Change this to a fraction. 1 over 81. We're getting closer. 3 raised to the -5. Change to a fraction. We get 1 over 243.
Mine keeps saying error.
Are you using the minus sign?
No, I'm using that sign.
I'm assuming I know.
Yes. Press enter.
I moved on and I'm about to. cry, 'cause I don't get this one at all.
Okay, so we know that our fraction needs to be -5. I mean, our exponent, sorry. Our exponent needs to be -5, so the answer to this logarithm is -5.
So if you're trying to find a fraction, not the fraction.
Yes, anytime you raise a whole number to a power and you end up with a fraction, your exponent is going to be negative. Another way that you could work this problem, if it's more confusing for you to do it this way, don't worry about it, but it's easier for some people. I basically just ignore the fact that this is a fraction, and I look for 3 to what power equals just 243 instead of 1 over 243, because it's easier for me to try 3 squared, 3 cubed, 3 to the 4th, 3 to the 5th. I'm not having to constantly change decimals to fractions to see if it matches my answer. Once I do 3 to the 5th and I see that I get 243, I know that 5 is the number that I'm going to need. But since I actually need it to be 1 over 243, I just make that 5 negative. I just remember in my head that whatever number I get as my answer, because I'm actually looking for 3 to what power equals 1 over 243, I know to make that number negative. It just saves a lot of pushing buttons on your calculator.
Well, I got a big question once we get down there to it, 'cause I want and I'm confused.
Okay.
Bad.
3. I think I'm going to actually go ahead and skip down there.
Yes, please.
We're going to skip the next line, and we're going to go to log base 343 of 7.
I don't get it.
So would that be a fraction?
So real quick, what question is this logarithm asking?
243 to what power equals
7, yes. Okay, so now we're raising a whole number to a power. We're not ending up with a fraction like the one we just did. We're ending up with a smaller whole number. So what is our exponent going to look like? It will be a fraction. And for our purposes right now, it'll be a fraction that has a numerator of 1. So when you do trial and error on this one, you're going to try 343 raised to the 1/2 power. That's not 7. So then we try 343 raised to the 1/3 power. We get 7.
Okay, how do you do the little fraction thing? What do you put?
Right now, all I'm using
Parentheses, divide,
for just this that we're doing right here, you don't even have to use parentheses. All I did was use the division. So I did 1 divided by 2.
It won't be negative though, will it? It'll be still be positive.
Correct. If you want, you can insert a fraction. Let me remind you how to do that. If you want to insert a fraction on your calculator, you press alpha, which is the green button, y equals. Y equals brings up this menu. The first one is just numerator over denominator. If you press enter, it inserts a fraction for you. Then you can fill in your numerator and denominator.
But it's just dividing it. Can't you divide it? It's the same thing.
Yes, you can, especially for a fraction that simple. Okay, so our answer is 1/3.
1/3.
Okay, another kind of backwards way of working ones like this is turning it around and saying 7 to what power equals 343?
3.
What?
Then you put the 1.
Yes. So if you do trial and error,
No, that's what I was thinking at first.
7 squared, that's not it. 7 cubed gets us 343. So you know 3 is what's going to be your denominator for your answer.
So that means that the next one we're watching for 4 would be 1/3
Yup.
there we go. 4
Mhm. Yep.
No, you already know?
Okay, I want you guys, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left on this page. I want you guys to work them on your own, and then we'll check them. I'll give y'all a few minutes to do that.
I feel accomplished for once in class.
Oh my God. I saw a dude, I was like, she's a female. I'm pretty much.
That is.
No. I love Rachel. Sometimes. He sent me a TikTok over the summer and I answered it 2 weeks later and he was like, I didn't need to send it to you. And I was like, oh, okay. He was bye. Huh?
I don't know. I've never seen him say that
This
anyway.
black person for having. That's it for having. This black person for having. Adriana.
Okay, you guys check and make sure you have the correct answer on those 5, and then we'll move on.
I thought you said that.
I thought there were 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we did this one
Oh, I was gonna say.
together.
I got it.
Boom.
How was that 2?
Bow.
Which, Erica.
What's your top two? I'm wondering if you.
Stop talking. Are you having a stroke? Are you smelling burnt toast? Can you feel your left side?
Wait, I'm
Oh.
I'm not.
That's what I thought.
You smell burnt toast when you have food?
Yeah, usually when I have
No.
mine, I smell burnt toast.
Yeah.
Open the door.
I smell gas when I'm in my
I said, you're not welcome.
Yeah. What do you smell whenever you wait till I
All right.
Gas, like when I'm-
Anybody have questions on those? Everybody get those right?
I think we got it
Feel
right.
pretty good about them? Good job.
What kind of gas you talking about?
Are you gas?
Like that weed gas, like the petroleum gas, or like gas?
Laughter gas.
No, like gasoline.
Okay, let's maybe not talk about gas. Let's talk about converting between exponential and logarithmic form.
Gas. We're talking about school.
Not funny, didn't
This
laugh.
is not school related.
Okay, so you can convert between exponential and logarithmic form. Sometimes it's easier to solve a problem when it's in log form. Sometimes it's easier to solve it when it's in exponential form. So it's going to be helpful for you to know how to convert between those two forms. Okay, if we look at the first one, 1/5 to the power of x equals y. This is in exponential form, so we want to change it to be in log form. If we reference the front of our notes where we wrote the two forms, we have a base, an exponent equals a value. Those same 3 parts written in log form, we can see where those numbers need to go. So when we write this in log form, the first thing we need to write is log. And then we write our base, which is 1/5. Remember, it's written as a subscript, so it should be a little smaller and lower than the rest of what you write. And then we write the value, which is what's on the right side of the equal sign when it's in exponential form. So that is y.
Wait, what?
1/5.
So we're trying to find that exponent again.
Wait, so-
We're just changing we're not solving anything. We're just changing the way that it looks.
Wait, so where's what's the difference? You have 3?
It's 1/5, sorry. And then that equals the exponent from our exponential equation, which is x. So now we have changed this from being in exponential form to being in log form.
Is there really like a huge difference?
Yeah.
I understand the
There's a
difference,
whole
like,
3 letters.
no, you know what I'm saying, like, it's not, like, it's all like kind of the same stuff.
Well,
It's the same
yeah,
stuff.
it's the same stuff, but like I said, sometimes it'll be easier to solve a problem when it's in log form. Sometimes it'll be easier when it's in exponential form. So
It just depends on the equation.
correct, or the context or whatever. Okay, let's look at log base u of 15/16 equals v. This is in log form. We want to write it in exponential form. So in exponential form, we take our base, which is u, raised to the power of v equals 15/16.
I didn't understand. I was like, where is log?
Oh yeah, we're changing out of log form.
I wasn't sure Oh, that's why I was like,
Yeah, when you're changing out of log form, you don't need log
Why would you
anymore.
wanna change that log form?
Because it might be easier to solve.
because it says convert out of log.
Well, and also on all the ones that we just worked, log base 4 of 64, when we wrote 4 raised to what power equals 64, we were basically changing this to exponential form so that we knew how to solve it. Okay, in my opinion, looking at these two forms and where the things go in order to change to different forms is really complicated. So I'm going to show you guys a trick that might help you do it easier. So if you go to the back of your foldable where you just have some blank space, I'm going to show you what is called the loop trick.
Loop trick.
Mhm.
It's an actual trick.
Is that a magic trick where like, you throw a loop in there
No.
and solve
No,
it?
I was actually
No.
meaning like, it's like a quick.
It's a memorization tool.
But is it quicker?
In my opinion, yes. This is what I use to change to different forms. Let's say we have a logarithm, log base b of a equals x.
Log. Base A.
Log base b of a equals x.
I had that instead of B.
I
See,
figured.
forget a lot of things in my head. but I know.
Okay, if we want to change this to exponential form, what we're going to do is we're going to start at the base, which is b in this case, and we are going to draw a counterclockwise loop around to a.
Yo, that was cool.
Oh, I missed it.
It doesn't have to be perfect. So when we write this in exponential form, we are going to follow our loop. So we're going to start with b, follow the loop around to x,
Oh,
and
shit.
then to a. So when we write this in exponential form, we will first write b, then x, then a. That's the order that we'll write those numbers in. So this becomes b to the x power equals a.
Oh, because it's in the circle. It's the circle of life.
That's right. That's exactly why it's that way.
I like that better.
Obviously, once you get used to it, you don't even have to draw the loop or label the numbers. It'll just be in your head. You'll follow the
It's
loop.
already in my head.
It also works if you're changing from exponential form to logarithmic form. So if we're starting with b to the x equals a, and we want to write this in logarithmic form, well, the first thing that we need to write is log. Don't forget that. After you've written log, then we'll do the same thing. We start at the base, which is b, or whatever number has the exponent on it. Draw our counterclockwise loop around to x.
Wait, what's this for? Log?
This is to change from exponential to log form.
And now it's up there changing from log to.
Exponential, yeah.
See, I like that.
So we'll start at b, then a, then x. So after we've written log, then we can follow our loop to write base b of a equals x.
He said.
I was like, oh, is it?
All right, so let's go back inside our foldable and try this on the next line. 9.
We don't solve it, do we?
No, we're not solving anything right now. We're just changing forms. So 9 to the y power equals x. If we want to change this to log form, first we write log.
Wait, don't spoil it like that.
Spoiler alert.
You do our little circle?
We can draw a loop from our base, which is 9, counterclockwise around to y. And we'll follow that loop as we write. So we start at 9, then x equals y.
My elbows like.
Well, that ain't good.
Just draw them a little taller.
I said that's not
Is that
good.
a you?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
That is a straight 9.
Oh, yeah, 9.
Eric's freaking out.
Okay, if we go to log base 7/4 of x equals y, we want to change this to exponential form. So we could just start with the loop at 7/4, counterclockwise around to x. So we get 7/4. Good. Raised to y equals x.
Big blue.
Okay, there are 8 left on this page. You guys change those on your own, and then we'll check them.
Oh, no, I messed up. Leave it for something.
Okay, you guys can be checking these as I write them.
The one on the left is hard. I do.
Hey, mother. Hi, Miss Dog. Hey, Mom. Miss Fulmer.
She's right here.
Car full up. You did? I am being good. I do have my mask. I dropped it in here.
Oh,
Just
hey,
hold on.
open the door all the way. Well, I was gonna try to see her. Run. Missed her. It's okay.
Miss Fulmer said hi.
Hey.
Is this an eraser?
Yes.
This is pointless because it's gonna look bad after like a few like erases. Hey, use that.
I mean, she came
Brendan.
She literally came right after the. Hey, Erica, come on with her mother. Oh, my mom.
Yeah, KP texted me, he goes, what's your mom's name? I was like, Jessica. He's like, she's screaming on my back porch. She laughs really loud.
No, my mom loved Erica.
Miss Fulmer,
Yes.
Emily Cromit needs to go to see the nurse.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Check your answers. Make sure you have everything in the right spots. If you don't, figure out why.
Why did I put parentheses around like
Around the base.
around, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably because we did it on the first one, but that's only because it was a fraction.
Okay.
I mean, they're not going to hurt anything if you have parentheses, but
Hey, I got all these right.
good job.
I told my mom I learned something today.
Doesn't move.